So there you are.
Yes? Oh, Mr.
Cord. Stephen Cord. I met you at Mr. Dowell's office.
Of course.
With your daughter.
Yes.
This photograph doesn't do her justice. She's much more attractive in person.
Thank you.
I had the pleasure of meeting her at the inn with the good Reverend.
Jerry Bedford?
Yeah, good old Jerry. We went to high school together.
Did you want something, Mr. Cord?
Oh, excuse me. I'd like to see Mr. Schuster.
Well, I'm afraid there's someone with him.
Well, it'll only be a minute. I want to pick up some papers for Mr. Peyton.
Stephen Cord is here. He'd like to pick up some papers for Mr. Peyton. Yes, sir. You may go ahead.
Thank you. You worked here before, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
For Mr. Harrington? I hope I'm not intruding, Mr. Schuster.
Not at all. I'd like you to meet my wife.
Oh, we've met before.
Yes, we have.
Well, it was here, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, of course, of course. Nice seeing you again, Mrs. Schuster.
Thank you, Mr. Cord.
I would have sent these over to you.
Well, I thought it'd be quicker this way.
Well, I think Mr. Peyton will find everything in order.
I'm sure he will.
What time do you leave?
I'm catching the 11 o'clock bus.
Please give our very best wishes to Mr. Peyton.
Well, I certainly will.
How is he?
Hanging on with both hands.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've always pictured him as such a strong man.
He is, but a lonely man, too. That's why he appreciated your note so much, Mrs. Schuster. He was touched at your consideration.
I'm so glad.
Well, we'll have to have lunch when you come back.
Well, I'd like that.
Mr. Cord.
Yes.
David and I were thinking of having a small dinner party soon. Can you come?
Well, I'd be delighted, Mrs. Schuster.
Fine. Are weekend nights good for you?
Well, I'm ashamed to admit this, but any night would be fine. A bachelor's life is not as wild as it's cracked up to be.
Oh, we'll look forward to seeing you then.
Goodbye. I'm sorry to have taken up your time.
Not at all. I wasn't aware that we were giving a dinner party.
I think we should invite the Dowells, too. We owe them a dinner anyway. And maybe one or two other couples. And some nice young lady to kind of balance out the seating arrangement. Nothing elaborate. Oh, please, darling.
Doris, I want to know before the guests when I'm to be their host.
Oh, but it's time, David, to start inviting people to our home and meeting them on our own ground.
That is not the point. Just consult me before handing out invitations, especially to people like Stephen Cord.
What's the matter with Stephen Cord?
For one thing, he's Dowell's associate.
Oh. And, you accuse me of being class conscious.
Well, the only reason you asked him is because you think he's close to Martin Peyton.
What's wrong with that? It's a long way from Boston to Peyton Place. Stephen Cord is our only definite link to Martin Peyton. Besides which, he's an attractive, charming, young man. He's an asset to any dinner party.
He's also an ambitious young man.
That's not a sin, David. I'd better be going.
Just be careful that we don't outsmart ourselves, Doris.
Oh, I'm always careful, David. Have a nice day.
Yes, Mrs. Newton. Yes. Would you hold over just a moment? I have another call. Thank you. Mrs. Newton? Mrs. Newton? Hello, Dr. Rossi's office. Oh, yes. Hello, Mrs. Whitley. Yes? Well, look, could you... I'll call you right back. Yes, it won't take but just a moment. Thank you. Hello? Well, what number were you calling? No, I'm sorry. You have the wrong number. You know, it's unbelievable how many patients I managed to cut off since your mother left. What can I do for you?
I'm on the late shift today, and since I had a free morning, I thought maybe I could help out.
Your mother's suggestion?
She did remark in passing that you might not be the greatest telephone operator in the world.
And she sent you as an act of mercy.
No, that was my own idea. I've been using you as a punching bag at the hospital, Doctor, and we've both got better things to do with our time. Hired?
Gratefully. Now you watch. It won't ring the rest of the morning. Oh, I'm supposed to call Miss Whitley right back.
Mrs. Whitley? Dr. Rossi returning your call. Line 1, Doctor.
Hello, Mrs. Whitley. I have the results back on the test.
Hand me that weekly inventory sheet, will you, Dad?
Hmm?
Never mind. I'll get it. Any plans for dinner?
Yeah, I'm meeting Matt Swain over at the inn.
Why don't you have dinner with us tomorrow night?
I'd enjoy that if you're sure it isn't any trouble.
Trouble? Come on, Dad. We'd have had you over tonight, except that both the ladies have early engagements.
Doing what?
Well, Connie has to do something or other with her hair. And then Allison is taking Mrs. Schuster and a little girl to the college to see that puppet show. So I thought I'd catch up on some paperwork.
Well, I hope they take along their umbrellas.
Umbrellas? What for?
We're gonna get a real gully washer before this night's over.
Well, the barometer's still up, Dad. The forecast is for continued sunshine and increasingly warm weather.
My barometer says rain. I got a big toe, a kneecap, and an elbow, and they're a lot better than any of those gadgets they got over at the Weather Bureau. You remember that cloudburst we had back in the spring of '61? Washed up. Oh. Of course you don't remember. You weren't here.
I remember. You wrote me about it.
Darned old fool. I got nothing better to do than sit around and talk about the weather.
Well, it's an absorbing topic here in New England.
I know it's early, but I'm going over and pick up Max. Got nothing better to do anyway.
You want to take along some slickers and a couple of pairs of rubber boots?
If I were a Besson man, I'd bet you.
Eli, I thought I'd drop over and pick you up a little early. We can have dinner before they get too busy, huh?
Good, Matt. Let's go.
Bulletin's just come in from the Weather Bureau.
Say, rain expected?
Very heavy rainstorm before midnight. Ho, ho, ho.
This takes me back.
Were you in the drama club when you were in school?
No, I worked on the school newspaper, but it's all the same, really. And I remember those long, endless hours and the sense of mission and those awful, terrible cups of coffee.
But did you want to be a writer?
Well, I wanted what all of these kids want, I suppose. Doesn't matter if you act, or if you write, or hang lights. I wanted to be somebody. You want to prove that life owes you more than it does ordinary people.
Yes, I know what you mean.
I still feel that way. I wonder if it ever leaves you. Kim. Kim, honey, you better not touch.
It's all right.
Oh, hello.
Lee, this is Mrs. Schuster and her daughter, Kimberly. This is Lee Sue.
Hello. How do you do? It was a wonderful show. We enjoyed it so much.
Thank you. Kim, would you like to meet the Snow Queen?
Oh, well, she's deaf. She can't hear you.
Oh. But she was able to follow the play.
She knows the story.
If you talk to her so that she can see your mouth, she'll understand you. She's a very good lip reader.
Oh, no, Kim. Some other time, dear. We're going to have to be going now. Thank you so much. Come on.
Goodbye, Lee.
Bye, Allison. Goodbye. Allison, can we stop and have some ice cream?
Ooh, I don't think we'd better. You know, there's a storm coming.
Oh, I think there'll be time. Would you like to have some ice cream? Me too. And I need something to help me get over this feeling that I've been trespassing.
Trespassing?
In the land of lost hopes and dreams.
Well, I know a place. It's called Sandy's. It's on the pier. Has 18 different flavors.
18 flavors, Let's go.
Okay. Come on, Kim.
Rita, I've been looking for you.
We just put Gitch on the bus, Rita. He's gone and I'm back. It looks like it's gonna rain.
Well, I'm walking home.
You'll get yourself wet. Now, come on, I'll drive you.
No.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
But why should you get yourself involved?
It's a family characteristic. Just can't help myself.
You know, this is the first chance I've had to tell you how much I admire Allison. She's in many ways extraordinary.
In many ways, very extraordinary, Mr. Schuster.
And then Norman will find out. Just this morning, he told Joe that he'd kill him.